market.
Welcome back to the program. Just a quick update on the situation in Melbourne following the Flinders Street attack. Police say that the 32-year-old perpetrator has been released from hospital and is now in custody. An update, though, is expected from Victoria Police some stage this afternoon, and charges are expected to be laid, and we will bring you the latest on that as it comes to hand. Moving on, and a cybersecurity technology company has revealed China-based hackers have been involved in recent espionage-driven cyber attacks on think tanks and NGOs. CrowdStrike says there were at least 6 attacks in October and November. Joining me now live is Vice President of Technology Strategy at CrowdStrike, Michael Sentonas. Michael, appreciate your time. Can you take us through this? What sort of cyber attacks have you observed?
Thanks for having me. So yes, in October and November we were monitoring a number of China-based adversaries that were carrying out attacks on the think tanks and NGOs. It was a big change in the tactics that we've seen in recent times. The focus was very, very clear: to steal data, to steal information and monitor communications that was going on within some of these think tanks and NGOs. Including focusing on a number of them that were working on Chinese-based economic policy and military projects.
And just on that, you say that they are working on economic policy, US-China relations. So then who is behind this, and how likely is it that the hackers could have been companies contracted by the Chinese military?
Well, we believe, based on the research, that they are China-based adversaries, whether it's nation-state or groups affiliated with nation-states. Their focus was very clear. The tactics and the techniques that they were using was focused on very specific pieces of information. And as mentioned, it's been a big change to some of the more recent smash-and-grab type attacks where they try to get in and steal everything they possibly can and then get out. This has been very, very focused attacks over those 2 months that we've been monitoring the situation.
I understand that there was a drop in Chinese cyber espionage, potentially due to an agreement reached in 2015 after the US considered imposing sanctions against China. Why has there been a renewed interest by China in targeting Western think tanks and NGOs?
Well, I think there's a lot of focus from nation-states and groups affiliated with nation-states currently. If you look at what's going on around the world, political situation, especially in Asia-Pacific, there are a number of very, very targeted, focused attacks. And this is something certainly that I would expect to see more and more in 2018. And it's quite a worrying trend if you look at what's currently going on around the world.
The Australian government recently announced new foreign interference laws following concern from the intelligence community. Does this now signal that there is an active campaign to collect sensitive material?
Well, this is just another very, very good case study to show and remind us that there are nation-states and groups affiliated that are focused on carrying out cyber espionage. There's groups that are focused on destabilising institutional legitimacy, and this is something that we continue to see more and more of. We have to send a very clear message that this won't be tolerated, it's not acceptable, and we have to work hard at making sure that we call these situations out and do something about it.
And who can make that call? Is that something that has to come from the federal government?
Well, absolutely, it has to come from the federal government. Public and private sector needs to work together. We all have a part to play in making sure that our organisations, our networks, all of the technology that we use is safe and secure. We need to make it harder for the attackers because today the unfortunate reality is it's just so easy for the attackers to get in, to carry out these types of attacks, and in many cases get out unnoticed.
What would be your advice, or what precautions do these types of organisations need to take?
Well, I think in 2017, I should say, we've seen examples of massive cyber attacks. It's been a watershed year for certain styles of attack, like ransomware. And what it shows is that the tools and the techniques that we've been using traditionally are not good enough. They're not keeping up with the latest techniques. Organisations need to think about IT hygiene. They need to think about the tools that they use, the networks that they have. They have to focus on more up-to-date, next generation type security tools that are better equipped at not only preventing these attacks, but at detecting the attackers and moving them on very, very quickly.
Certainly very interesting. Vice President of Technology Strategy at CrowdStrike, Michael Sentonas, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
We're moving on now, and the disputed president of Catalonia has claimed victory.